They knew it. They knew that purple slimy things would rule the world in the future. They were so right. I'm Araknie, and this is Day of the Tentacle, by the way. Thinking was something else? I couldn't understand what you're talking about. Oh well, let's talk about the game. This is also called Maniac Mansion 2, but only in some regions and with good reason. Surprise, it's a sequel to that game, but also it's just a normal point-and-click adventure now. Specifically set 5 years after, with only one returning character from the original 8 and 2 new ones. Bernard in this case, the all-purpose nerd. Then you get Augie, a roadie for bands searching for his big break. Lastly, we have Laverne, a recovering mental patient with a love for violence. Clearly Laverne is the character we all love here, I will not hear otherwise. Not even joking, is the only one that doesn't sound so stereotypical American and based on American culture. And as an Italian, she is the more international one and unique compared to most protagonists for this type of games. I'm tired of both the jock and the nerd types of character. The first with his confidence and the latter with their quirkiness have busted my balls beyond repair. I'm going to the doctor now.
Some time later.
So I was saying, thank you Laverne for saving this game for me. Not that the other two have bad dialogue of anything, some funny moments from them too, but the funnest of them all was Air, no doubt about it. So what's the story? Purple Tentacle gets hold of toxic sludge and grows in intelligence but not in size. But now he's got arms, that apparently makes him ready to conquer the world, and he succeeds. How do we know that? Because of a failed experiment to go back to yesterday, one of us stays in the present, while the others go to the past and the future by about 200 years each. Lesson learned, never buy imitation diamonds ever again. I'm always scared when playing time travel stories. This game gets at least only one thing wrong in the ending. It could have gone worse. One mistake is nothing compared to certain movies I've watched. To not talk about video games? Yeah, this keeps it pretty solid from start to finish. You'll notice the mistake only if you play it while discussing the game with other people. It's hard otherwise. From there you get into various zany situations in the vein that only a Maniac Mansion game could provide. I loved all the happenings and some of the callbacks they had to the previous game. They took much care that it was in the same vibes, even if it was a bit less edgy than the original. Unfortunately, thank you Laverne for keeping the proper attitude at least. They make up for it with creativity in the interactions and the puzzles, and I honestly enjoyed a lot how they connected them all one to the other. They tried to give it not much realistic sense, it was never about that. This is not that kind of game, kid. Instead putting their focus on the most important of things, in-game logic. Meaning it needs to make sense for the world and the world rules you have created, and it mostly does so, that's no small feat. But they don't make much use of the fact that you have 3 different characters like in the previous title. That was quite disappointing. Yeah, you get to use, hear and enjoy commentary from 3 different perspectives, but it wasn't too necessary for the adventure. It just happens because they separate for story reasons. I prefer gameplay reasons myself. You know I am like that, I say that often. The other, this time slight, disappointment was in the verb system. Yep, they don't allow you to use all of them with every interaction. I've been used to such freedom in Sierra, LucasArts and other company games from the 80s and 90s that it was quite stark being so restricted. Not even something like, I don't wanna talk with that. Just a single line recording for interactions that aren't there. It showed hope for something really hidden or mysterious in other titles. Don't like that in this there's no reason to even try it. It's more like modern examples of the genre, where everything is already laid out for you and you're not getting any surprises. Don't remind me of the state of modern point-and-click games, please. To not even think about it, I'll move on to the art style. It's even more slanted and colorful and zany than the original. Since we got it now in VGA, that was a given. It honestly fits the series so much better now. Even some creative violence wouldn't feel so bad in this style. But yeah, it worked on my mood too, because when we get to the fascist future, everything looks not so good, and it will seriously send you into a sense of deep despair. Not really, but it was motivating seeing the future in such depth for once. These games want to have stakes, and at least this time they show the consequence of failure. It was about time something like that happened. Video games should be about show and don't tell, and this one does it. So good job, good thinking and good luck. Why? Why? You're a developer in this harsh world, you'll need it. I don't know about the music instead. I think I like only some of it. It's just the 60s surfer jazz isn't for me, I guess. They do diverge into different genres every now and then, but mostly into other stuff that I don't like. Stuff like Washington era chamber music or 60s lounge music. Some hints of good rock and some symphonic stuff sticks out positively, but it's less than 1/3 of it for me. The original game has fantastic 80s horror movie vibes, but almost no music. They could have done everything they wanted with it being set in 1993 and all, and they went for mostly 60s vibes. That's not for me. After all, I'll consider Day of the Tentacle an 8 out of 10. It still has enough going for me. It's enough of a fine idea that I like what was going on in it, but it doesn't feel like a sequel to Maniac Mansion. It doesn't use the original concept, it sidesteps it in another direction. I guess I know why they dropped this connection in some regions of the world. If you wanna see me play the games that I will review plus some extra stuff, catch me on Twitch at Araknie Retro. It's my natural habitat, you see. Until next time, ciao ciao!